What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. In this video, we're going to predict the offensive MVP for every SEC team in 2019. And just a reminder, we do have an all SEC football channel as well. Over on that channel, this week and next week, we're going to be giving you the top 10 players on every SEC team. There'll be a video up for each team, one team a day, and we're going to give you the top 10 teams on each team. That'll kick off with Alabama. I'm not sure on the timing of these videos. That video might actually already be up when you see this video. So again, please check that out. And if you're an SEC football fan, please subscribe to the channel. But back to this video. Yes, we're going to be predicting the offensive MVP for every Power 5 team. We'll do the SEC today and then go through the rest of the Power 5 conferences. Next week, we'll predict the defensive MVPs for each team. And I tried to not just pick the quarterbacks of every team. I mean, obviously, you're going to have some quarterbacks on this list. But I tried to dig a little deeper and see who might really have a huge impact on their team. And we're going to go alphabetically, no particular order here, or the order is alphabetically. We're not ranking these players or anything like that. So we kick it off with Alabama. I think it's got to be Tua Tagovailoa. You saw the difference in this Alabama team with him at quarterback. They were like a totally different team, a totally different offense, that is. You see, he threw for almost 4,000 yards last season, 43 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, had a great completion percentage. Made some plays with his legs as well, and I think he is, between him and Trevor Lawrence, those are your two favorites to win the Heisman Trophy. Two quarterbacks that dueled last year in the national championship. They could do it again this year, and those two guys just seem to be a little bit above everyone else. But I think Tua will definitely be the offensive MVP for Alabama. For Arkansas, we're going to go with Rakeem Boyd. I really expect him to throw the football more this year with Ben Hicks coming over from SMU. They added some really solid receivers in this recruiting class, so they've got a lot of depth there. So you could perhaps go with Ben Hicks at quarterback just because of the change of style. I think, again, they're going to be throwing the football more this year. But Rakeem Boyd is an excellent running back. They ran for 734 yards last season, but 6 yards per carry. If he can continue to stay that top guy, because they've got several backs there, I think he could have a 1,000-yard season and be the MVP for this Arkansas offense. Next up, we're going to go to Auburn. A little bit of a curveball here. I'm going with Anthony Schwartz, the fastest player probably in college football. I think we can pretty much say that. I actually saw an article that listed the top 10 fastest players, and he was listed at number 1. He has world-class speed, but they used him not only in the run game, but as a receiver, and he is a wide receiver. He had 7 total touchdowns last year. This was as a true freshman, and they're going to need playmakers like this to step up. They're going to have a new quarterback. Not really sure exactly how the offense is going to look with Gus Malzahn taking over, but I think Schwartz could have a huge year, and I think he'll be over 1,000 yards this season when you combine his rushing and receiving yards. Florida, we're going with Lamical Perine. Florida has several really solid running backs. 826 yards for him last season, 6.2 yards per carry, 7 total touchdowns. With Jordan Scarlett gone, I think he emerges as that top back. Again, they do have several there. I almost went with Felipe Franks here, just because I think he's going to have a great year, and I think Dan Mullen is really going to utilize him with their second year together. Franks' running ability, his improved passing ability, and just that big arm, he could definitely be that offensive MVP. But for this video, I decided to go with Lamical Perine. It was very close, though. Next up, we have Georgia. This was also close between a running back and a quarterback, because I think it could be Jake Fromm. But you just have to look at what all DeAndre Swift brings to the table. He ran for over 1,000 yards last year. Wasn't even healthy the entire season. Receiving yards, he had almost 300 there. 13 total touchdowns. So yeah, to me, he is going to be that offensive MVP. I think that they're really going to get back to running the football a lot this season. You know, last year they had some very talented receivers that are now going to be gone. So I don't know, how much success they're going to have in the pass game compared to last season. So I think maybe they lean on the run a little bit more. They did bring in some new receivers that are going to be really good, but I think it's going to be Swift. Now you go to Kentucky now. Lynn Bowden Jr., their go-to receiver last season with Benny Snell gone. I think you got to go here. 745 yards receiving last season, 5 touchdowns. He is going to be that go-to guy once again. a guy that, again, has proven to be that #1 running back. You look at Asim Rose there, new running back with Benny Snell gone. He is definitely a candidate for this list, and he could have a breakout year. Terry Wilson, with what he can do with his legs, if he can improve as a passer, maybe he could be here. But we're going with the safe pick, the proven pick for Kentucky. Next up, we go to LSU, and how about this? I'm going with a true freshman, John Emery Jr. He was the #2 running back recruit in the country. You know, I think Joe Burrow's going to have a great year, but it's LSU, and they're just not going to throw it a whole lot. Despite Joe Burrow and the receivers that they have a lot of talent at wide receiver. And I do expect them to throw maybe more than they have in the past, but it's still, at the end of the day, going to be a run-first team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is solid, but I think John Emery actually is going to overtake him and become the go-to back for LSU. And I think at the end of the season, you're going to see him having the most yards on this team on the ground, and I think he's going to be their offensive MVP. We're going to stay with a running back here for Mississippi State, and we're going to Kylin Hill. Really emerged last season. Couldn't stay healthy all year, but had a great season still, 734 yards rushing. And he's, to begin the season, was really, I think, projected to be the #2 guy with Aris Williams back. 176 yards receiving as well. 6.3 yards per carry, 10 total touchdowns. Just had a very solid season last season, and I think he does even better this year. I think he definitely gets over 1,000 yards. Nick Fitzgerald is gone, and with Keaton Thompson a little bit, limited maybe in the passing game, and not quite the type of runner that Nick Fitzgerald is, I think Kylin Hill really emerges and has a great season. For Missouri, we're going with the transfer, Kelly Bryant. Let's go back to 2017 to get stats on him. He threw for over 2,800 yards, 665 rushing yards, 24 total touchdowns. I think that they're going to build this offense around him. They've got talented receivers. They've got Roundtree in the backfield, who might be the MVP here. But I just think with Kelly Bryant's running ability, I think that takes away from Roundtree a little bit in the run game. And so I'm going to go with Kelly Bryant here, and I think he's going to have a great year. We'll see how much he has improved as a passer here now that he is with Missouri. Next up, Ole Miss, we've got Scottie Phillips. I think he will be the go-to guy there. Of course, they had signed a big freshman recruit as well, but Phillips has proven it. He ran for over 6 yards a carry last season, 928 yards, had 14 total touchdowns. Really became that go-to guy for this Ole Miss ground game. And even with their passing attack with Jordan Ta'amu and all those receivers they had, they still, again, had Scottie Phillips rush for almost 1,000 yards. Now with those receivers gone, a new quarterback, I think they lean more on that ground game. I think Phillips easily goes over 1,000 yards if he can stay healthy, and I think he will be the MVP of this Ole Miss offense. South Carolina is up next, and this one was tough for me. They've got some good running backs. Jake Bentley, of course, at quarterback. But I went with Bryan Edwards, the wide receiver. With Deebo Samuel gone, I think Bryan Edwards becomes that go-to guy. I think he will have a monster season. He caught 846 yards last season. I think he goes over 1,000 yards this season. Averaged 15.4 yards per catch. Had 7 touchdowns. But again, I think those numbers are going to go up. I'm looking for 10-plus touchdowns, over 1,000 yards receiving. And I think, again, he will become that go-to guy and the leader for this South Carolina offense. Let's continue now with Tennessee. We go back to a receiver. How about Marquez Callaway at Tennessee? Last year, 592 receiving yards, 16 yards per catch, only 2 touchdowns. So he didn't have a great year. And they really just did not throw the football last year a whole lot. Jarrett Guarantano was very efficient when they did throw it. And I think they throw it a little bit more this year. I think Callaway emerges as that go-to guy. They've got some solid receivers there. You go back a couple of years ago, he made some big-time plays. I think he gets back to that, and I'm going to say that he will be the offensive MVP for Tennessee. And again, that's what I'm going to go with. But it could be Guarantano. Maybe he explodes this season and can take that next step. We do go to a quarterback next, though, at Texas A&M, and that is Kellen Mond. Really busted on the scene last year. Travion Williams was kind of the go-to guy on this offense, but now that he is gone, I think Mond is going to have to do more. And just look at what he did last year. He threw for over 3,000 yards, ran for almost 500, had 31 total touchdowns. Just unreal numbers here for Kellen Mond. And again, most of their pass catchers are back. They don't have Travion Williams, so they may not run it quite as much as they did last season. I think that puts more on Kellen Mond's shoulders, and I think he has a monster year in 2019. and I think he'll be Texas A&M's offensive MVP. Our final team is going to be Vanderbilt. This one is probably the easiest pick. It's going to be Keyshawn Vaughn of Vanderbilt. Ran for over 1,200 yards last season, 7.9 yards per carry, 14 total touchdowns. This one was not even a debate. Every other one here, maybe Kellen Mond, that one was pretty easy as well. But most of these, there was some debate in my mind. I went back and forth between at least a couple of guys. But Keyshawn Vaughn is the guy for Vanderbilt. He will be their leader on offense, and I think he will definitely be their offensive MVP. Elijah Lipscomb at receiver is also pretty good, but it's going to be Keyshawn Vaughn, and that one I feel pretty confident in as long as he can stay healthy, of course. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Who do you agree with or disagree with from my list? I'm sure there'll be plenty of debate for this one, but that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you're an SEC football fan, please subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments below. And for the latest in SEC football, keep it right here.